Hey, let's go on down to Southern California and check in with Dan Wooding from the Assist News and assistnews.net. And you know, there's something about Dan you probably don't know, that he is a dual citizen. So he's got one foot in the U.S., 1 foot in the U.K., and maybe now 1 foot out of the EU. So how did you celebrate the 4th?
Well, we had a mixed day, as you mentioned. We're dual citizens, US and UK, and Norma and myself yesterday went to a lovely place called San Juan Capistrano. You probably remember the song "When the Swallows Come Back to Capistrano." Wow. And we had a wonderful time. There's an area there that goes back a couple of hundred years where some of the earlier California homes were built, and they're still there. So we had a wonderful time for half the day, and then we spent the rest of the time wringing our hands in sorrow that we lost our colony. We've lost half the politicians of the country as well as this, but it's a confusing time. We're delighted that America won its independence, and we're upset that it did as well.
Well, get over it. All right. Well, listen, some great stories coming out of Assist News. By the way, folks, those who listen and watch The Dove can go to assistnews.net and get a free subscription, and you're going to get stories from all over the world. One, like, I guess a small Southern Oregon church freed 4,500 slaves in Pakistan. How did that happen?
Well, yeah, this is a church, actually. It nestles in the foothills of Southern California here, and they've only got 400 members, but they heard about a situation in Pakistan where a school needed to be built, and so they sent over a team and began to find out a little bit more about the predicament of not only the kids who needed this school, but the fact that there's something like 56,000 Christians employed making bricks. They work in these horrendous brick kilns, and every brick that's made in the country is actually made by these very poor Christians. And during one of the trips, a former barber who's one of the church members negotiated a deal with the Taliban, who were actually blackmailing many of these Christians, to release something like 4,500 of these slaves. They managed to raise the money to pay for the freeing of these slaves, and we have on our website, assistnews.net, pictures of them being freed, a wonderful story. They also had an evangelistic campaign. 2 imams who were Muslim leaders found the Lord. One of them even had a vision of Jesus coming to him and welcoming him into the kingdom. And so this little church of 400 people has been able to free all these slaves. They're now building the school, and they've seen several Muslims come to the Lord.
Wow. Now, folks, that's just some of the types of stories that you'll get when you go to assistnews.net, and you can sign up for these emails. They come through anywhere from a half a dozen to a dozen a day, so check it out. All right, now the flip side of that is that I understand you got a story of about 5,000 Muslims that destroyed a small house church there in Alexandria, Egypt. What's that one all about?
Yeah, in Egypt, it's very difficult for Christians to get a permit to build a new church. And so in Alexandria, a brother there, and his name, let me get his name for you, I believe you have Brother Musa. He was having secret meetings in his home for the believers of Alexandria. And one day the Muslims noticed that a Coptic minister, the Copts are the indigenous believers there in the country, was regularly visiting this home. And so they suspected that it was being used as a place of worship. And so recently, on a Friday after they'd had prayers, some 5,000 of them went to the area. They smashed up the home. They destroyed everything in sight, including the Bibles. and they managed to shut down the church. Many of the members who were in there, children and women as well, were very badly injured, and the police stood by and did nothing. And so, it's a shocking situation going on in Egypt. Very, very few of the believers there are getting freedom. Many of the bigger churches have also been burned to the ground, but this is a small church, and it's in Alexandria. So please pray for the believers in that part of the very historic country of Egypt.
Yeah, it's astounding about that. For quite some time, we had a fairly workable relationship with Egypt. Apparently now that's all changed.
Yes, it's a very bad situation. They've had a succession of problems there. Now they have a military leader who's in charge, and he basically is just turning the other, he's just not looking when the Christians get persecuted. He got rid of Morsi, who was the Muslim Brotherhood man, and we thought, with this new leader, things would be better. But sadly, since he's come to power, things have continued and are actually getting worse by the day.
Well, thank you, Dan, for the work that you do. Dan heads up Assist News. You can go to assistnews.net if you're a listener and viewer of the Dove and click on the subscription. You'll get a free subscription, and let me tell you, it's worthwhile. You'll be getting emails throughout the day giving you stories and updates of the persecuted church around the world. Thank you, brother. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Perry. God bless.